The Atlanta Braves get walked off in extras 8-7 by the Washington Nationals in, again, another game they should not have lost. Let's talk about it.
This is the Braves Postcast, your instant game reaction for the Atlanta Braves. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into the Braves Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Atlanta, where we cover your Atlanta sports teams each and every day. I'm your host, Lindsay Crosby, author of the Braves Today newsletter over at bravetoday.com. You can follow me on social media at Crosby Baseball. That's Jake Mastroianni, host of Locked On Braves. Follow him on social media at Shortstop Ball. And Jake, I wish we were coming to everybody in slightly better moods. The Atlanta Braves, back and forth game, they dropped the series finale 8-7 to the Washington Nationals. They are now back under 500. We'll get to that in a minute. But as frustrated as I was about the pitching early, AJ Smith-Shawver struggled in this one. It feels like the game ended up coming down to a bad base running decision made by third base coach Matt Tuiasosopo in the ninth inning.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's kind of several bad decisions in those last couple of frames there, giving up an out with Stuart Fairchild too. It's the little things in those games like that. And I know we tend to get on here and we focus on the bad decisions and we don't give enough credit to good decisions, but it just feels like there's been a lot of bad decisions made in this run, and you're giving games away that you just can't afford to. Again, I talk about it all the time. You start 0-7, you put yourself in the hole that you're in. You can't give games like this away. At some point, you got to string together an 8-2 stretch. You got to get really hot to not just get to 500. We were all excited about that. That's not the goal. This team needs to get 10 games above 500. They need to go far beyond that. And you can't when you keep giving games like this away, or you keep using, your bottom guys in the bullpen and letting games slip away from you. And it continues to happen. And all those good vibes we have coming out of Boston, the great Sunday game, offense looking great, the starting pitching on a roll. It feels like a million years since that game took place. You had 2 off days this week, and now you've lost both of these games to the Nationals. It's not great.
Yeah. To your point, this is the third game in the last stretch of, 8 or so games. You had a game last week against the Nationals. Your bullpen kind of blows it late. You go with the B squad, right? You have a game on Saturday, similar situation. And then this one, back and forth game from the beginning. But I do want to kind of zoom in on that ninth inning. You mentioned talking about the bad decisions. So Sean Murphy pinch hits for Nick Allen. Leadoff single. They immediately put in Luke Williams to run for Sean Murphy. We're good so far. Stuart Fairchild goes to bunt. This is your point here. It's a pop-up bunt. So it's an out. Murphy does not advance. Austin Riley hits a ball to third base. Jose Tena bobbles it a little bit. Luke Williams is safe at second. Riley's safe at first. And then Matt Olson, who had an amazing game. We're going to get to that. But Matt Olson hits a double off the wall in right. 107 off the bat. 370 something feet, kind of like not quite a line drive, but like a laser out there. And Luke Williams scores easily. Austin Riley gets sent by third base coach Matt Tuiasosopo. And I haven't seen the widescreen shot of the replay, but Riley's out at home plate by, I'd say, probably a step and a half. Like the ball is there clearly before he gets there. He tries to go around the tag, can't do it. With Marcell Ozuna coming up, who had 3 hits in the game and 2 RBI, and then Drake Baldwin after him, who had multiple hard hit balls over 100 miles an hour that didn't fall for hits tonight. Is this a more egregious send from third base than Alex Verdugo being sent against Boston when the ball was in Jarren Duran's glove when Verdugo was 2 steps away from third base? Hadn't reached third base yet.
Yeah, that one's pretty bad too. I think they're both pretty egregious. Maybe this one more so just because of the circumstances. It's still second and third. You got a lot of momentum. Ozuna's coming to the plate. And look, maybe they walk Drake Baldwin and load the bases. I don't know. Or sorry, maybe they walk Ozuna, load the bases. They didn't walk Ozuna after that. So it's a terrible sin. And like you said, even after that, you have Drake Baldwin coming up. So you got 2 cracks at it because you can't hit it into a double play unless it's some sort of line drive double play. So you're going to get two cracks at it from third base with two really good hitters in Ozuna and Drake Baldwin. You can't send there. And I'm sorry, Joey Milby, everydayer of the podcast. I love you to death, but that I could have made that relay. Like it wasn't even that difficult. It didn't take a perfect relay. Sometimes I'm okay being aggressive if it's going to take, two perfect throws to get them. My 6U team could have made that relay home to get Austin Riley. Like it wasn't close at all. It's a terrible sin. You talking about, I want to see the view to if whether Riley went on his own or Tui sent him over there. I want to see the angle to see, did Riley hold up? Because it's 1 out. Remember, on 2 outs, he's off at the jump. And I would think Riley probably hesitated because I don't think it was clear off the bat that was going to get over the right fielder's head. So I would imagine there's at least some hesitation by Riley. And if there's some hesitation there, that ball hit so hard, you just can't send him. 2 outs, send them all day long. I'm okay with that. But 1 out there, you just can't do it. And that's really inexcusable as a third base coach.
Yeah, just not great decisions. And obviously Braves go on. They don't score in the inning. Ozuna pops out to first base to end the inning. Baldwin doesn't have a chance to come up. And then you make it to the 10th inning. Baldwin deep fly ball to center field. Ozzy Albies singles. Orlando Arcia pinch running for Marcell Ozuna. We finally see Orlando Arcia. The bench is virtually empty, so they put him in. Kind of feels like, I don't know. You're trying to get the molasses is too slow going downhill, so you put some glue out there to go down. I don't quite know. I don't have a good metaphor here, but it doesn't feel like it's that much of an increase in speed, really. But
that one's one there. I don't get. I mean, Arcia is slow as can be. Like I honestly don't know who'd win in a foot race between Arcia and Ozuna. And what if this game were to go another inning or two? You've now taken Ozuna out of the lineup. What if somebody gets hurt? Now you have nobody left on the bench. That's one too. I don't get. And like, it's unfortunate because you had already used your pinch runner. Using Luke Williams when you did, that was fine. I have no problem with that. But it was a deep fly ball to center field, and somebody with a little bit of speed, maybe you test the arm a little bit and try to move the runner over to third base. But you're not going to do it with Ozuna. You're not going to do it with Arcia either. So I really don't know what the upgrade was there.
I needed to put some respect on Orlando Arcia's name. I pulled their StatCast sprint speeds this year. Marcell Ozuna, 24.4 feet per second. Orlando Arcia, 24.5 feet per second. So clearly a much better base runner speed-wise. Yes, huge upgrade there. But like outside of some of that, I do think Ozuna and Olsen, 3 hit games for both of them. They each hit a home run. They go back-to-back in the first inning. Both of them 2 runs, 2 RBI. Outside of them, you get a grand total of 4 other hits, and 2 of those, Murphy and Fairchild, were from pinch hitters. I know we've been talking about we need the heart of the order to produce more, right? And we saw that in Boston. Is this what you had in mind, Jake, when you asked for the heart of the order to produce more, is that they would do all of the producing? Is this what you expected? It's been a great run for Matt Olson. He's been as hot as can be, especially on the road here late. I think he's had 3 or 4 home runs in the last 5 games. But it felt like this was really Verdugo, Riley, Baldwin with some bad luck. Eli White's cooled off. These were kind of your issues tonight. And again, to make that send of Riley, knowing that you're that you're one of your 2 best hitters tonight just did something, and your other best hitter tonight, Ozuna, with Baldwin behind him, we're coming up. That's the big issue for me here.
Yeah, it's a big issue. And look, I mean, Michael Harris had a big 2 RBI hit. Nick Allen walked one, and Murphy came in and got a hit in his spot. But yeah, you're right. I mean, it can't just be 2 guys. You need a little bit of help. Let's also be honest. I mean, it's 7 runs on 10 hits and 4 walks tonight. Like the offense, for the most part, did its job. That's usually going to win you most games. But need a little bit of help from some other guys. And this was the game that I was wanting. It kind of felt like AJ Smith-Shawver was due some regression. He was due to have a little bit of a stinker. I know we'll get to it, but I wanted to see the offense come out and win you a ball game when the pitching wasn't there. Almost did it, but not quite enough.
Yep. And let's go ahead and break down AJ Smith-Shawver. We'll do that next, right here on the Braves Postcast. You ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track, and that's where Monarch Money comes in. It's your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Because Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. The idea is you can track all your accounts, your investments, and spending in one place. So you stop just managing your money and start building wealth. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to do everything in one place. You and a partner, it's smoother than ever. You can track your shared and your personal accounts, the ones you want to share, set goals, stay on the same page without stress. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONMLB for half off your first year. To your point, Jake, this was the regression game for AJ Smith-Shawver. He pitches 3 full innings. He doesn't record an out in the 4th inning. 8 hits, 7 runs, 3 walks to 1 strikeout. And the big thing that gives me some pause is when you looked at the stuff and kind of what he did, the breakdown on StatCast, he only picks up, I think it was 2 total whiffs, 1 on the fastball, 1 on the splitter on 35 swings. How much of this was just he was a little bit not as in the zone as much as usual and the old game plan against him worked? And how much of this was they saw him a second straight time and they kind of figured out how to get production off of him?
I think a lot of it has to do with they're aggressive and they're not a team that I don't think swings and misses a lot. But I think it's also seeing a team, 2 times in a row for a guy that's really only throwing 2 pitches. I mean, he's basically just throwing the fastball and splitter right now. So I think that's a lot to do with it. And as I pointed to earlier, I just think he was kind of due one of these starts. I mean, it was a 4.90 xERA coming into this. So he had been a bit lucky, and then you're facing the same team twice in 1 week. So I think it's just a little bit of regression due, a team seeing you back-to-back starts, a team that's aggressive and just not swinging and missing a lot. So, I mean, I think AJ Smith-Shawver will be fine. This doesn't necessarily worry me in the long run. But yeah, I think a lot of it just had to do with he's facing the same team twice in 1 week, and you're really only throwing 2 pitches. And I think they adjusted, which, look, if he's going to stay up in the big leagues, he's going to have to adjust back because teams are going to see him more. They're going to get video on him, and he's going to have to, figure out how to get by a team multiple times. But I think that had a lot to do with it, just not seeing him so soon.
Yeah, and I do think the Arsenal comment is a big thing there because we know he throws a cutter. He has the curveball. He threw a couple of curveballs tonight. He didn't throw the cutter at all. And he's really not thrown the cutter a ton in this hot streak. And I think, not to make the parallel, they're not the same guys, but we saw with Spencer Strider on Tuesday, when your main pitches, in this case, his fastball and a slider, aren't working as well as they normally do, you have to be able to use other pitches more and sequence more. And it feels like AJ Smith-Shawver didn't make that adjustment to the extent that I would have liked tonight. I do think, to your point, incredibly talented player. He's got plenty of opportunities to do this better here. What do you make of Snit pulling him out in a 2-0 count? I thought that was really surprising to not at least let him finish the at-bat. Either if you're already nervous enough that he's on shaky ground, pull him before the at-bat starts, or let him at least finish the at-bat. You get Aaron Bummer brings him in, or puts the guy on with 2 more balls. The walk gets charged to AJ Smith-Shawver. But why take him out in a 2-0 count? It's not a thing you see all the time outside of an injury situation.
I think it's a learning or teaching moment, I guess, from Snitker's point of view, in that your team just got you back in this ball game and you come out and you can't throw strikes and you walk the first batter and you fall behind 2 on the second batter. I think it was just a teaching moment for Snit to say, this is unacceptable for a young kid. Your team gets you back in the ball game. You got to come out and have that shutdown inning. And I think he was just kind of sending a message to the young kid and saying, this you can't do this. You can't have your team, your offense, after you struggle so much, get you back in the game and then come out here and throw a bunch of balls and let them, right? Because, I mean, let's be honest, that was the game. I mean, he comes back out there, he walks those 2 batters and those scored. Those both scored. So I think it was Snit just kind of sending a message saying, you can't do this.
I can see that. Yeah. Bullpen, you throw 6 different guys out of the bullpen today. That's going to be expected when you have an extra innings game and a starter that leaves early, right? Speaking of, there's this really annoying thing. We keep having these nighttime getaway day games that go to extras. Atlanta's obviously, they're heading back home. Thankfully, they're not going on the road, but they're heading back home. It's another, night getaway day game that goes to extras. Raisel Iglesias in the ninth comes in the tie ball game, preserves the tie. I thought he wasn't as crisp as we've seen him at times, but he also was not bad, right? He gets a line out from Luis Garcia. That's a changeup. It's like belt high, but away. The movement takes it off of the barrel. Still a hard hit ball, 105 miles an hour. Josh Bell flies out. That was one of those. We've talked about this before. Changeup down and away off the plate that Bell goes down to get. Just weak fly out to left field. And then Robert Hassel, changeup down and away, doesn't really get a good swing on it. Michael Harris makes a fantastic defensive play. He's been struggling at the plate, but his defense has not slipped at all. I feel like this is another step in Iglesias getting back to being where we need him to be. Were you okay with the idea of swapping to Dylan Lee for the 10th versus keeping Iglesias? Because if you had taken a lead, I feel like we would have seen Iglesias stay out there for the 10th inning.
Yeah, I mean, I thought they might bring Iggy back out. If it hadn't been such a shaky year for him, I think you would have. Last year, we saw Snit do it a lot. If Iggy came in a tie game in the ninth and it stayed tied, he'd bring him back out for the 10th inning. I feel like he did it 2 or 3 times at least last year. So I think if Iggy were having a better season, you might have seen him come back out. I'm fine with Dylan Lee. I think he's your best guy available at that point. I think the tough thing here is you play an extra inning game, you use your best relievers, you lose, and now you got to face the Padres team. But they did the same thing on Thursday as well. They played an extra innings game in the afternoon, used their best relievers, and they lost. So I guess that makes it kind of even, but you were hoping to have a little bit of an advantage there. I guess you do have the 2 off days this week, so those guys should be able to go again. But yeah, I don't really have any issues with the bullpen usage in this one.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of Padres, Atlanta's back home tomorrow. Nick Pivetta versus Chris Sale on Friday. You've then got Michael King versus Grant Holmes on Saturday and Dylan Cease versus Spencer Schwellenbach on Sunday. I think the hardest part of this loss for me is the fact that now you've got to go play 2 postseason teams, right? This is the end of your stretch of winnable series where you had Washington twice, you had Colorado, you had Pittsburgh. Like you had series where you could gain some ground. Now you're back below 500 and you've got to go and you've got to face some good teams now. So hopefully they can figure it out. But I do feel like this is a bit of a missed opportunity tonight and more so really in the last week and a half or so.
Yeah, really the Pittsburgh series and then this one. Not winning that series in Pittsburgh and then not at least winning one of these 2 games. I mean, they did a good job in this stretch to at least get to 500 and above 500 at one point, but they could have done more. Like you said, they left a couple of games there on the table and they should have done more with this stretch.
As we wrap up real quick, the Atlanta Braves just put on social media, they confirmed Ronald Acuna Jr. will be back tomorrow. So there you go. Little high note to end the show on. Braves drop series finale to the Washington Nationals 8-7. We'll be back tomorrow to break down Ronald Acuna Jr.'s first start of the season. Do us a favor, if you're listening on audio, leave a 5-star review, Apple, Spotify, YouTube Music. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to both Locked On Braves and Locked On Sports Atlanta. Hit the notification bell so you know when we go live to talk about Ronald Acuna Jr. hitting for the cycle tomorrow, stealing 4 bags, and a blowout win by the Atlanta Braves. For Jake Mastroianni, I'm Lindsay Crosby. This has been the Braves Postcast.